Your voice is probably 15% louder than everyone else's all the time.
That's true. Anyway. Have you ever seen 1776 the musical? Right? Have you ever seen that?
So.
There's John Adams' character is played by William Daniels, who most kids of the '80s remember as the voice of Kit. But there's this great scene somewhere in the show. Somebody goes, "Lord, your voice is piercing, John," and my wife quotes that to me all the time. She's just like, "Lord, your voice is piercing." I'm like, "Shut up, I know." All right, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, gamers of all ages. It's episode 25 of the On the Button podcast. As Trey so aptly noted last week, we can now rent a car without paying all those stupid taxes and extra things you pay for being under 25.
I know.
That's pretty cool. That's pretty awesome.
Right. We're like one away from a full year of doing this.
Yeah, we're going to have to do like a birthday thing, I think, when we get to our first anniversary, which is coming up pretty quick. Trey, we were having this conversation with some local players just 2 nights ago, right? At Tuesday night. One of our locals, our regulars, it was Christian, right? Wasn't it Christian?
Christian was. Right. He's not a regular anymore. He used to be a regular.
He was a regular for a while, and then life happened, and he was there. But he was there Tuesday night, and he was like, and Trey was like, "Our podcast," and Christian's like, "What are you talking about?" And Trey had this moment.
He asked me about my birthday trip, and I was like, "You don't listen to." It didn't even have anything to do with the game that we're there playing and that we podcast about. He was like, "What? Tell me about your barbecue trip." And I'm like, "You don't listen to us?"
I'm so offended.
Like, what?
And Chris is like, "I didn't know you did that." And Trey's like, "Oh, now I'm really offended." So yeah, as we near a year of doing this, you might notice if you're watching on the video portion, or if you happen to actually look at the thing in Spotify or whatever podcast app you use, we now have a fancy official logo thanks to Trey. Well done. Thank you for sourcing this and getting it done. It looks nice. I'm going to have to get some stickers made up to give out to folks.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. We'll put some stuff out there with it. I have some ideas.
Okay. Well, conveniently, my lovely wife is a creator of all kinds of things. We can literally make mugs and I'll order stickers, but she can do shirts, right? We get all kinds of shenanigans. It could be fun. So yes, we now have an official on the button logo. Guys, we're becoming a real podcast. This is terrifying.
As classy as the photo of one of their original plastic initiative tokens was, I feel like we've stepped into the big boy realm now.
You'd be shocked. I probably spent more time getting that photo just right than you spent getting this thing done, because I spent anyway, lighting and angles. It was a mess.
It was
done now.
Beautiful. It was gorgeous. Just not really a podcast. You were. It's like those people that spend all the time making their hair look like they didn't do anything to it. You spent all that time getting it done, and it looked just like a candid photo. Somebody snapped.
Exactly.
So well done.
There you go. Well done. Ian, how's life treating you, my friend?
The last 2 weeks has been terrible. Let's just move on, man.
Okay. All right. We're gonna skip right over Ian.
It's a new day tomorrow.
We did catch
at the bottom of Ian's roller coaster.
We did catch a glimpse of the dumpster fire that has been Ian's work life recently on Tuesday night. He was catching us up on Ian. How's it going, man? You don't want to know what's going on in my world. It's been a literal dumpster fire. We don't want to talk about it. So moving on.
I took it out on. I had a great time playing cards Tuesday night, but that's the only fun
you had some good games.
And that's what it's for.
Yellow. That's what it's for. Yeah. And you had some good games.
I mean, like, this is the thing. Which is one of the.
Go, Trey.
Yeah, this is one of those things that, like, this thing that we do is such a good thing for that so many people just don't have. Like, there's so many people that don't do this type of thing, and they just spend their life mired in their crappy job. They come home, they eat dinner, they watch some shows, they go to sleep, they do it all over again. And, like, I mean, you hear on the news the studies, people over 40 can't make new friends, or people over 30 can't make new friends, or I don't have 3 friends now, like that type of thing. We have friends everywhere. Yeah. Like, we're the 1% of the 1% of people that, like, do something to do social in their life, which I would never have expected when I was a teenager and I was all reclusive and whatnot.
Would you say you have friends everywhere, Trey?
Think so?
Okay, I'm going to casually drop the Andor reference, and you're going
I missed the reference,
you're going to
man.
completely bork it. I'm just going to walk away from you.
Oh!
I can't talk to you right now. I can't believe you missed such an obvious Andor reference. That just makes me so sad. So sad. Look, Ginger is even mocking you in the background, giving you the
goodness.
Look at that. I mean, just, that's terrible.
I don't need wives in the background. And I saw it. You didn't have to point it out.
I'm just telling you.
It.
I'm telling you. I wanted to make sure that the audio listeners caught it. The extra mocking was there. Well, Ian, I'm sorry to hear that. Things have been fairly steady for me since we did the podcast last. Nothing terribly exciting. Get up, go to work. Trey and I went to Austin last weekend and covered the planetary qualifier up there at Game Castle, which was a great event. We had a blast. I got to roll out some new overlays that I've been having fun playing around with, and the setup, did its new thing.
By the way,
good. I'm glad you enjoyed that.
Watching.
I got to.
Yeah. I was over there facing, and I got my little phone playing the files.
I'm starting to pair. I'm starting to steadily pare down the amount of gear and weight that I have to carry for cameras. So I transition. We have the hand cameras, are those little OBS bot cameras that Tim and Claire over at McClunky introduced me to last year in Minneapolis, and now I've moved to those for player cams as well. And so the whole thing is just smaller and lighter. I'm carrying, and so now the next mission is to try to shrink down the PC, and if I can do that, now things start to get really interesting about the kinds of deployments we can do for tournament coverage, which will be really fun. So that was a great event. Had a great time. Got to see one of my old.
We had a fan,
huh? We met some podcast fans. We had people come up and we're like, we really enjoy your podcast. And Trey was like, yes, winning.
The Austin area, travels to the Houston area a lot, so we've met a lot of those players.
Yeah. Well, it's less than 3 hours.
I wanted to ask you guys, but I forgot to ask. But was Hunter at the tournament?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yep. I saw him.
I'm always interested what he's playing. He comes up with great decks.
I
was interested what he was playing.
Told me what he's playing. I think he was on Anakin, maybe. He told me what it was because I bumped into him in like round 2, maybe. And I was like, hey man, what are you playing? And he told me, and dear God, I could swear he told me Anakin. But maybe I'm crazy. I'll look it up while I'm sitting here because it won't take long.
I'll have to message him.
No.
He was there.
Sabine ECL.
Great
I remember
coverage,
now.
by the way.
Sabine ECL.
Okay.
Because he told me, I was like, oh, you're going for one last ride. He said, I've never played it competitively. I said, what are you talking about? He goes, I'm the guy that all the local players bring their decks to smash into Sabine, to test them. He goes, and as a result, I get sick of playing it. I don't want to take it to a tournament. So, and he goes, so I decided I'd do it this once. He goes, the disadvantage is, he goes, at this point, he'd already lost to somebody who he had practiced against, teaching them how to beat Sabine. Right. Which was really, really funny. So yeah,
that's the way it goes sometimes.
Yeah. Great event in Austin. Trey, how's life treating you lately?
It's great. I had fun at the tournament. It was super well run, better than pretty much any tournament I've been involved in. I have a thing that's popped up with me lately that I want to ask you guys about. I don't really listen to music all that much. I enjoy music, and if I'm like hanging out with friends, drinking beers and whatnot, we'll have music going on in the background. But I'm a podcast listener. If I'm like doing stuff and listening to anything, I have my hearing aids in and they're constantly playing. But I always want to hear people talking. It's college football, it's Formula One, pretty much those are it. But I've recently started listening to music and like getting really back into music, but it's like a very particular band that I have discovered, and it's not a new band. It is a band that I have known but a long time. Okay. And I never liked them. And now, for some reason, I have discovered this band that is 26 years old. They released their first album in 99, so 27. Okay. And like, now I listen to it constantly. Like I have a really nice sound system in my truck, and then like these headphones that I've got on, they can get really loud. And so like, I'm like jamming out to Slipknot.
Okay, I love it.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
But I've never, I like their guitars. I've always liked their guitars, but I've always one of the reasons that I have to wear headphones or hearing aids is because I destroyed my hearing as a teenager listening to Metallica in massive speakers in my Firebird. I mean, that's one, I have some medical issues as well, but that's a big deal.
So that's funny.
That doesn't help.
No, it doesn't help at all. But I loved metal, but I don't like the guttural like singing in metal. So every time I hear that, it always turned me off. Yeah,
Slipknot has great choruses. He can really sing a really good chorus.
Yeah, so now I'm like,
stand out.
But I'm on like this journey of rediscover. Like I've been watching YouTube videos about the band and everything they've been through that I didn't. I mean, I was alive for. I was an adult listening to music, but I just didn't listen to them. And I learned about the guy dying, and I like the order, like how they wrote this one song when the Corey Taylor was like getting divorced. Like and that's all this like crash course in like 27 years of this amazing band's history. And so I'm like, I don't know. Tomorrow's my wife's birthday, and so I was. We were over at some friend's house tonight, and I had to like come back. Somebody else was bringing her home, and then I came back, and I'm just like jamming to freaking Slipknot, just because my truck is really loud, and if I want it to be, yes, exactly, devil horns in the air, head banging, all of it, and like I thought, I've been listening to this band nonstop for like a week and a half now, and I bring that up. I just think it's interesting that because it's not a new band. Didn't find some new music that I'm like, oh, you guys got to check this out. Like, no, I discovered a band that I just hadn't been listening to for a quarter century. That's pretty exciting.
I'm kind of the same way with music. I'll go through stints where I'll latch onto something either new or old that like I hit a spell about 2-3 weeks ago. I'm a movie score collector, right? Film scores. Hans Zimmer is an example, right? I just love just about everything the man's ever done. And one of his early film scores was 1995. Summer 95, he scored a film with Denzel Washington and Gene Hackman called Crimson Tide. And absolutely great, fun movie, totally unrealistic, right? But just fun, just a great drama film. And the score to that movie has long been one of my favorites. And for some reason, about 3 weeks ago, I got into this stretch where like for a week, I just mainlined that, like in the car, at home, sitting at work, whatever. I just had that playing on loop, and I just get into modes like that. So I know exactly where you're coming from.
Yeah. Just fascinating, and I listen to a lot of music, or at least a lot of Slipknot.
Sweet.
So in the idea of doing things wrong, I have a little bit. I have a bit of a mea culpa. Mea culpa, like I messed up. Mea culpa is the word. I'm just not sure it's the correct word for the situation.
Okay.
I have a little bit of an apology to make for our last episode. Like, I don't. Let me phrase this correctly. I listen to that's what I want to say. I always listen to our podcast. I've done podcasts in the past for a couple other games. I've never listened back to our podcast, but I listen to this one because I find these interesting. I like hearing us talk. I want to see like if I say something dumb or something pops up, and like I can repeat the conversation in my head as I'm listening to the conversation, and I'm like, oh, I forgot to say this thing that was really clever, would have made everybody laugh. So I'm listening to it. One of the things that I have, I feel like I do. I offer a lot of criticism for things because I want things that I am passionate about because I want them to be better. But I also sometimes just kind of run my mouth without thinking. And I feel like part of being an adult is being able to recognize like when you make a mistake. And then I don't even know if anybody caught this but me, but I listened back to it and I heard myself say something and I went, that's not fair. That's not a right thing to say. You shouldn't say that. You should not have said that. You should have put more thought into it before you made that statement. And the statement that I made that caught me and forced me, I wanted to just say something publicly. I have no idea if anybody, these people listen to this, if their friends listen to it, but it's not for them. It's for me, is that I said, whoever makes these bases is bad at their job. And it was a throwaway comment. And I had a point with it, but it was also overly broad and not succinct enough because I don't know. I have no idea who makes these bases. There are some trash bases that have been made and I say trash because nobody plays them. But that doesn't mean that whoever makes it is
legendaries. Like there's just trash cards. Like I'm starting to learn that when like people make sets of cards, like they do have the right intentions, and sometimes the cards just come out trash and they don't mean it.
Yeah. So
no, and I don't. That's. But I want to say I don't necessarily think that whoever makes bases is bad at their job. That was an incorrect thing. It was uncalled for. It was a little bit rude because I didn't. It was no name associated, but I called somebody out and said, "You suck at your job," and that that rubbed me the wrong way, and I wanted to say something about it. And it's patently not true, because there are some bases that are good. There are some bases that are terrible, and then there are some bases that are like sometimes get played, which I love. The base that makes 2 droids, there are a handful of decks that gets into.
Yeah.
The base that gives a shield, there are a handful of decks that have played that over time. I love that.
Yeah.
No, there's some garbage ones, but then there's also some overpowered ones. It's like every other card, so I don't think it was right of me to call out.
So first
It
of all,
wasn't right of me to call out somebody.
As a listener myself, right? I also listen to our episodes. I appreciate that, right? One of the things that as I've gotten older, I try to avoid, I don't always succeed, but I try to avoid is making hyperbolic statements like that. Like, you suck at everything. That's obviously, it doesn't matter who you say that to, that's obviously not true, right? So I try to avoid that, and I don't always succeed, but I hear where you're coming from. So
and when you say something like that, and somebody hears you, and in their head they go, "Well, that's not right," then I feel like that makes it harder to take you seriously when you are speaking non-hyperbolically.
Reasonable.
And I want my criticisms and my suggestions on how to address those criticisms to be taken seriously by people that hear them. I'm not just spouting off, but in that moment I was spouting off, and I just didn't. That's not who I try to be normally. So I should not have done that.
Okay, fair enough.
So now that I've groveled on my knees to the listeners to please forgive me, you guys had homework.
We did indeed.
We did a design challenge. We did this in the past. I got good feedback. So this is for those. This is what we ended the last episode on. I sent our boys here off to make some new cards, and there were 2 parts to this challenge. So the first part was, all right, I gave them a scenario, and the scenario is we are making the new set. We've got rotation, and we are chopping out all the old cards. Among those are the aspect flavored card or named
the double
cards.
aspect named cards. Yeah.
The name cards. So aggression and
cunning,
vigilance. Those cards are being chopped out. Now, the scenario is, all right, we're not remaking those, but those are iconic names, and so we need to have something like that in the set, in the format. So I want to make aggression 2 and vigilance 2 and whatnot. So I want you guys to come up with pick 2. There's 4 of them. I want you to pick 2, and I want to give me your take on what you think would be cunning 2. And then the second part of that challenge was, okay, we've done that. Now, what I want you to do for the second part of this challenge is what we don't have and we've never had heroism or villainy as cards. So I want double aspect white cards and I want double aspect black cards. Go.
Ian,
what did you come up with?
Ian is super excited because he's got this whole paragraph witten.
I love
do
this. Yeah, I love this. I did them all because I just started thinking of them one at a time. So first of all, I wanted them to be absolute bangers, right? Like I feel like those cards were so good from the first set. Like Vigilance was getting played for 6 in so many decks for so long. If you build a deck, I was gonna say still is. If you build a deck and you're playing double aspect, those are in it automatically. Like they're just amazing cards. So I wanted to kind of follow that theme, but at the same time, maybe take it a little more over the top to make it like really feel like game changing. So I made them. So I kind of changed them up completely, but I made them 6 cost. I gave them plot because I want to see that carried forward. And I said you can only play 1 copy in the deck. So unlike like Vulture Droid where you can play 15, this is restricted to 1 copy. Okay. So you're locked in. And what I did is I looked at all the overall cards that are in the current sets going forward. So the rotation sets, Lawless Time to Jump to Lightspeed. And I looked at their overall theme of what they're trying to do in those aspects, right? So with Cunning, I said you should, when you play it for 6, you get to exhaust all enemy units, and you create 3 tokens of your choice, either an X-Wing, TIE Fighter, credit, shield, or experience.
No spies?
Oh, spies.
Spies should be on the list. But
spies too.
I'm with you.
Spies should be on the list too. I totally forgot them. I was trying to list all the tokens.
Right. So any tokens that have existed in the game, you can just create
them. Whatever you want.
Okay.
You can have
so you have
experience tokens. You could have 3 spies. You could have whatever you want.
Yeah, you're missing battle droids and clone troopers, but officially those have rotated.
But they
out,
don't.
So...
They're rotated out.
They're rotated out.
Yeah. Okay, got it.
All right.
So that's my Cunning one. Okay. Vigilance. I have heal 6 damage from a unit or a base. all friendly units gain restore 2.
Now, do they gain it permanently, or do they gain it until the end of the round?
Oh, for the face.
For the
This
face.
is all going to
Okay.
be for the face.
Got
For
it.
the
Okay.
face, right? So you can play out your leader, and you can play out this card, and if you've got a wide base, you can really get back into the game.
Okay.
Aggression. Discards 2 cards from the opponent's hands, and each friendly unit gains Saboteur and Raid 1.
Oh, I
Because
like that
Saboteur
one.
and
I do
Raid
like that.
is all over aggression.
Yep.
Right?
Those are great.
I
Those are great
like
traits.
that card.
I do too.
And then I have Command. Give each unit you control an experience token, and each friendly unit gains the keywords of each other unit.
Ooh, so they Voltron up.
They
Interesting.
Voltron up.
Interesting.
Okay?
Hmm.
That's what I got. So my idea behind them is that they could completely flip the board. You're getting annihilated, and this card, this one card in your resource row with your leader, can hopefully change the whole plot of the game.
So
Like that a lot.
For starters, I like the idea of it. The for me, the notion that I'm getting annihilated, this card's going to save me. Anything that requires me to have multiple units on the board, I'm not getting annihilated. I'm still in the game. So
That's true.
So if you're looking for like a comeback, a right hook comeback out of the blue card, things, in my opinion, things that buff your units on the board is probably dicey, because chances are if you're
probably more,
getting your ass kicked, you don't have much on the board.
Removal then.
Yeah,
Right, so then instead
so-
of that, maybe heal and removal?
So for vigilance, I could see like heal and, heal some off your base and maybe, knock a unit away that costs less than your leader deploy or something. Like, I don't know. Come up with some kind of removal mechanic.
That would make more sense.
The cunning one, I think, works
The
really
removal
well.
in the sets right now, is real
Is
thin.
a little on the thin
So I
side.
didn't want to add, I felt kind of weird adding removal because it's so thin right now.
I'll for my money, and you guys know how much I love removal events. If you gate this behind a double aspect requirement and a 5 or a 6 cost price point, I don't think that's unreasonable, right? If you're playing double blue, I kind of expect to see some shenanigans for removal. The cunning one.
I think you would want to make it 5 though, because
I agree with 5.
Well, it depends on how plot works. Like, if you make it 5, you can flip it on a 5 or a 6.
Yes,
and then you just pay the tax. Okay.
Yes, I think 5 is.
5,
I think 5 cost is better because the majority of leaders, there are very few leaders that cost less than 5, and usually when they are, the decks already lean toward the fast side, and this sort of thing is probably not something you necessarily want to be giving guys that go that quick. Okay, so either they have to take an extra turn to wait on their leader deploy to get this shenanigans, or you're now raising up everybody else who deploys at 5, 6, 7, or 8, a little better, that kind of thing. Okay, so
Thinking about them now.
Yeah,
it was fun. It was fun.
One of the changes
I love the
do,
plot concept.
One of the changes. So one change that I do, I think I would raise it to 2 copies in a deck, just to make it happen more often, and to make it more collectible. If everybody only needs 1 copy of this card, then they're not going to have any value.
Well, it's
whatsoever.
a legendary, so you just print less. I don't know.
I would still make it 2. Like, I get the idea. I like the idea of decreasing the number of copies of cards you can have in a deck. I think that's cool. But
yeah. My thought is
the
reason I wanted to restrict it is because I thought they would be. I kind of made them over the top. At least for the cards that they designed, these legendaries would be super over the top for what they designed. Minus like Luke Skywalker and Anakin, but I felt like 1 copy would mean that it would be more difficult to play cross-platform. Like, you would kind of have to play double aspect to play it. Like, I didn't want it to carry over like Vigilance does right now, or Cunning does occasionally, right? Like, where you're playing it off, where you're not playing the double aspect, but you're still playing the card. So I thought restricting it to 1 would kind of pull that back. Because that drives me insane. I hate watching Vigilance be played for 6 and being like, it's still so much freaking value.
Yeah, it's totally worth it at 6. So
yeah,
like,
it's still
4
worth
is
it at
crazy.
6. That's my point.
Big
So I
time.
didn't want these to feel that way too, where like you get it played on you 3 times, 2 times. Like it just feels awful each time.
Yeah. No, I'm with you there. Okay, I like the idea of this. I love the plot mechanic. Go ahead.
Now, before we do Ian's villainy or heroism, I want to hear you said you did aggression.
I just did
what
aggression.
Did you do, Wes?
I just did aggression, and I'll be honest. So for my money, I didn't redesign every single one. I still like the idea of keeping them 4-cost double aspect events. I really like that. 3 in a deck I think is reasonable. I think I should have done all of them, but I'll be honest. For me, for my money, for what these events are, they're already they're strong cards. A couple of them need, in my mind, a little bit of a tweak. I think Cunning, as strong as that card is, Cunning is probably the only one I wouldn't even touch all that much. It's arguable. It's arguable that it's overpowered, but I think when you put it alongside the other ones, it is ahead. But I also think it's possible to bring the other ones up so they're a little stronger, so that they all feel a little more balanced as a suite. It's the only one.
All right, so
go ahead.
Yeah, because Cunning is not good at 6. I mean,
Cunning is not
it
good at
has been
6.
played at 6, but not like Vigilance has.
Exactly.
So I think if you've made everything Cunning level,
right. So I didn't redesign Vigilance, but for me, the single thing that makes Vigilance broken, I'll be honest, I think that card is busted at what it costs, is the 5 heal off your base, because no other card in the game. Very, very, very few other cards in the game can deal direct damage to the base, but I can just have cards in my deck that will casually heal 15 over the course of a game as long as I pay some resources. Like, big deal. So that's always felt really unbalanced to me. So what I did was I took Aggression, which is one of you guys know me, I'm a double red guy. I love this card.
Yeah, I was gonna say, you've played that card more than I can even
played
count.
the hell out of Aggression. And I can tell you right now that Aggression is almost a perfect double red card. It's very, very close. So the only tweak that I made was, I'll read you what I wrote here. And it's basically the same. I called it like aggressive tactics or something, right? So it's not aggression, but it's similar. And it's still choose 2 in any order. I kept defeat up to 2 upgrades because that is amazing value and a great utility of this card that red desperately needs. I kept ready a unit with 3 or less power because that, again, tends to be a fairly, like a nice little buff to your ability to attack something, get some extra damage in. And unless you've, queued up a specific unit in a specific way with crazy raid or whatever, it's not a massive hit, not usually. I changed the last 2 bullet points. I rearranged them a little bit. I deleted the very first bullet point on Aggression is draw a card. I deleted that. Very, very rarely is it worth investing in one of these abilities to draw a single card. Now, if they had said draw 2 cards, I might have left it. But what I did instead was I went drop the bottom 2. Aggression right now says, at the very last bullet point, says deal 4 damage to a unit. I changed that to deal 4 damage to a base. Because I feel like if I am playing...
Just a base.
Deal 4 damage to a base. Because I feel like if I am playing double red, you need to be cognizant at all times of how much damage I am pushing. Because once I have enough resources on the board, 4 or 5, whatever you decide to cost this thing, bam, suddenly, out of my hand, here it comes. Now, I'll say this. I feel like this would need some testing. Because I meant this to be a foil to Vigilance. Vigilance heals 5, so Aggression deals 4. Here's the trick. I feel like Vigilance is a little busted at that price point. So I think maybe you might need to look at this one and do some testing to figure out maybe 4 is not the right number. Maybe it's 3. Maybe you cost the event a little higher because of it. Okay.
Yeah, the 3, because 12 damage to your base straight out of the deck seems really
tough.
Powerful. So
I agree.
That was the first thing that I thought of, is probably take this down to 3.
So again, we're spitballing here, but one of the things that drives me crazy is that Vigilance is like, I heal my base, and Aggression is like, I wish I could counteract that, but I can't because I'm a weak card. And then at the last, I took what used to be deal 4 damage to a unit and just ramped it up and said, now deal 5 damage to a unit. I gave it a little extra oomph. So now it's for my double red aspect and 1 extra cost, I'm getting a slightly better open fire paired with something else. I didn't feel like that was completely unrealistic.
I think that actually works really well, given how they've slightly bumped the butt on all of the creatures going forward. So
yes.
things that used to be 3 are now 4.
Yeah,
that's the standard now, and Aggression obviously didn't change to keep up with it. So that's not a bad idea. You probably kill the same guys.
or close to it, right? You're still dealing, and again,
Yeah.
it's a 1 point tweak on the damage to the unit, and I deleted the card draw, and then I want the card to deal direct damage to the base. We can argue about the value, right? It should be more than 2. Right. I think 4 is probably too much. I think 2 is probably too little. I think 3 is probably a reasonable compromise. Whatever, however we get there. But I've always felt like for a double vigilance. For vigilance, double blue, to heal the base, and aggression, double red, to not deal damage to the base is just bad balance. I hate that. So yeah, that was the one that I did.
All right, cool. Now
I like it.
We've
Way
heard
more
those.
balanced,
Those look good,
sir. Way more balanced.
Yeah, I like where all of those went. I think Ian's require a lot more testing than yours because yours is kind of based off of the hundreds of hours of experience.
It's a slight variation to a card we already have, right? Yeah.
But I think those are some really interesting ideas of how to show off the flavor of the
aspects.
Color.
Yeah.
The aspect, thank you. The flavor of the aspect in a card form. So I like it. Now, Wes, what about your other one?
So I took this same idea and then now extrapolated it out to a 4-cost double villainy event just called Villainy. And then I had to sit down and be like, okay, if I was going to, choose 2 in any order. I love this mechanic, by the way. I love these events specifically because cards that present me with multiple options in the moment, I love having that kind of flexibility in a deck. So I stopped and I sorted through and I just looked at villainy units. I went to SWODB and was like, show me all the villain stuff in the game. Not green villain, just straight villain. What have I got in here? And I started to look through and kind of find some things like, okay. And I came up with some ideas. So here's what I did. So again, it's double villainy, 4 cost. Choose 2 in any order, just like the other ones. Give up to 2 friendly units overwhelm for this phase. There's a lot of villainy units that have overwhelm, and I've always liked the ability to hand that to units on the board that didn't have it, because now suddenly you've changed the threat level of that unit. And I like the idea of villains attacking into the opposing units and killing them or messing them up and still being able to push through some base damage. So I did with that. Give each villain unit you control +1/+1 for this phase. So if you have done something on the villain side that you've kind of gone with the weenie hordes, the battle droids, the TIE fighters, this could be kind of cool. Little extra buff. Ready a villain unit with 3 or less remaining HP. The idea here is either I have a weenie unit that's got kind of a small butt that I'm going to try and get a little something extra out of, or I've got one of my big guys that's on the verge of death and I'm going to send him in for, one last big hit before my opponent gets rid of him. And the last one I kind of struggled with a little bit. What I landed on was discard the top card of an opponent's deck, then place a random card from an opponent's hand on top of their deck. So as we get into more of these shenanigans with heroes like Yoda that can kind of manipulate, or like Ezra that look at the top card, or 3PO or whatever, I like the idea of the villain coming in and saying, I'm going to disrupt all your crap. I'm going to ditch whatever that card is, and I'm going to take something out of your hand and put it back on top. And like a setback, right? Like the villains are always trying to slow down the heroes and set them back. That's kind of what I viewed this as, like a setback mechanic. I'm going to slow you down. So that's where that's kind of, and so you play the event, you pick 2 off that list and you go. That's what I came up with.
All right. So what did it cost again?
It's 4 at 4. It's like it's 4 cost event with the double villainy aspect.
Okay. Interesting. Now, did you take into consideration when you designed this that this is impossible to play without paying an aspect penalty, except in Twin Suns?
I did. In Twins, so consider, for example, I originally just said give a friendly unit overwhelm, but then I was like, why would I play this card? Because I've already got a green event that does that for 3 cost, when this is going to cost me 6 most of the time. Why would I do that? So yeah, I was like, no. So let's give it to 2 units. You could argue there's a case for the give each villain unit control +1/+1. I originally had read that written as +2/+2, but I thought, man, that feels a little too much. But I wanted it to reward like the idea of the villain horde, right? Like I've made my army of battle droids, and for this phase, they are all bigger and harder to kill. Like I kind of like that idea. So yeah, that was my thought.
Okay, nice. Ian, what do you think? What did you think? What did you come up with?
Well, I specifically only thought Twin Suns. Like that's all I thought. I was like, if you're
Okay.
gonna print these cards,
that's-
they really
that's
only
where
have
I
one
am.
person.
Okay.
So, what I did is I looked at all the villainy cards again. Was looking at the cards for all the sets that are playable right now, and a lot of the villainy cards and heroism cards are kind of based towards the tokens of whatever tokens are going on in the sets. So I thought it would be interesting to make a villainy and heroism card around those. So for villainy, I have defeat a unit each opponent for each opponent. So if you have 3 opponents around you because you're playing Twin Suns, you defeat a unit from each person and defeat all tokens.
Ooh,
On the
that's
flip side,
rude.
On the flip side, heroism is all units you choose have Sentinel for the face and create a copy of each token.
So do you create a copy of your tokens or everybody's tokens? And do
That's
you?
what I
if it's
couldn't
everybody's,
figure out. That's what I couldn't figure
you
out,
get
right?
them
Because I
all?
wanted to make them like polar opposites, right? So that if somebody was like sitting at the table and they play the heroism card, the villainy person just goes, okay, well, I'll play my villainy version of it and kill this, and and do my shenanigans of let's just get rid of all your tokens. So I wanted them to kind of at the table maybe cancel each other out if that happens. I wanted to make that play like possible, I guess. So that was my idea behind them, to make them kind of opposites. So one defeats tokens and one grants tokens. How it grants and how many, I don't know. But what I did like is what I really loved was you get to choose the Sentinel unit. So you could make a deal with somebody and be like, bro, I'll give your giant unit Sentinel for X, Y, and Z, and it just creates more talking around the table. So I kind of love that aspect.
I like it.
I do like that.
I like how you leaned into that.
I do too.
That was fun. I print those cards.
It's interesting to me that you and I came
I'm gonna
at
make
this.
it myself.
It's what I love about this, Ian, is that you and I came at this from completely different directions because you immediately thought of Twin Suns playing these.
Oh, well,
things.
I love Twin Suns.
Whereas
like, it's not a question.
I looked at that as like a secondary consideration because to me, I'm like, I don't want to say my focus is 1v1, like, traditional play or whatever, but that's just where my brain is wired to think. You guys have played way more TS than I ever have. Whereas if you
literally just thought, what cards do I need to go in my double red?
I
black
wish.
deck?
Oh no! If I was doing,
you built cards for yourself.
If I was doing that, the double villainy card would look very different. What's
Wes
interesting
wins the game.
Yeah,
is an option.
Yeah. Oh, are you playing villain? You win because hero is because good is because good is dumb. What I like, you pointed out, Trey, that hadn't dawned on me, right? If you print these as double villainy and double heroism, they're basically going to appear in every single Twin Suns deck ever built, ever. Because as we get more and more unit leaders that don't have the villainy or heroism aspect, there will be, times that doesn't occur. But like in general, you will almost always have these aspects in your decks, and you'll have 2 of them because the deck rules are written such that you can't cross mix them.
You can't not.
So you might as well mix pair them up. So yeah, that's interesting. I hadn't thought about that.
I guess you could play DJ double yellow.
Well,
something.
so we're they spoiled the new Saw Gerrera.
Oh, and there's some other heroes. Yeah,
well, he's not a hero. He's a red green. That's it. He is not a hero. And there is speculation, we don't know, they haven't revealed it yet, but there will be the kind of thematic one that I keep seeing is people are expecting to see Tobias Beckett as the other leader he'll be cunning and vigilance. He'll be blue and yellow. Probably blue-yellow underworld or blue-yellow fringe or something. Because his buddy Rio Durant already has a unit in the set that has been spoiled already that's yellow-blue.
Okay.
So you could reach a point where you could literally now build a Twin Suns deck.
Rainbow.
I'm spitballing.
Rainbow.
You could literally have every aspect and you could play Lake Country, Saw Gerrera, and this other leader, and have access to every aspect in the game in a 34-point base as a Twin Suns deck.
No, you'd still be missing one.
But you're complete. No, you have everything. If it is a blue-yellow leader, you pair blue-yellow with red-green leader. You have everything.
Oh yeah,
on a neutral base.
You don't have access to hero and
you have no access to hero and villain. That's the trick. So you are quite literally the straight neutral mercenary faction, which is kind of interesting when you get down to it. I like it.
But you could partner Saw Gerrera with somebody who's
hero, absolutely
hero
or villain,
and and then play a regular colored base and have access to the whole rainbow yourself.
I love Saul.
Yeah.
I love what they did with Saul, because Saul is like the perfect character that rides that line between light and dark, right? Is he a hero? Not really. Is he a villain? Well, maybe. So I love that they're like, he doesn't get heroism or villainy. He shouldn't have it. And I was like, that's very thematic, I thought. So I thought that was great. Trey, are you satisfied with the homework results?
I am so satisfied that I will have another one at the end of this podcast.
I look forward to it. I look forward to it. I want to talk a little bit about something that I've seen some irritating, unfortunate news of, right? And we've talked a little about this locally. I don't know how big a problem it is, like globally or where everybody lives. Like if you're listening to this podcast, I'd actually really love it if you would come into the comments and engage with us and let us know how big a problem this is where you are. But here in Houston, we've had a non-zero number of stores who used to be avid supporters of the game who have put their pencils down and said, no, I'm not going to continue to stock Unlimited. I'm not going to continue to support Unlimited or run Unlimited events. For us here on the north side, the big one is probably Julio over at Aegis.
Oh no!
Yeah, he's not gonna do his fun build a box.
It's the best event.
I agree, it's tons of fun, but he's not gonna do that anymore. He's going in different directions with his stuff, and he's not the only one. I know that Asgard has been on a roller coaster. They've kind of had it and dropped it and had it and dropped it, and I think the player base has kind of settled in down there for a while, but they've been on a roller coaster. I think the Bedrock City out in Katy has been running showdowns for a while, but I have not seen them put one on the calendar this set. So it's I know I've heard people who go live up on North Side talk about Cards and Comics, how their player base has dwindled down to very, very little. And while I think Shannon is not likely to quit supporting the game, I'm sure the thought has at least run through her brain a time or two. So
like, why am I still doing this?
Exactly. Like, why? Like, obviously, I love the game, but as a financial decision, is this good for my business? Probably not. So, how much longer am I going to tolerate this? So, I guess what I'm getting at is, I'm curious if you're Asmodee, how do you respond to business owners, brick and mortar store owners, who come to you and say, a year ago I loved your product, I was all in on it, and now I can't anymore, guys. You just lost me.
So Ian, what do you think? You're the guy.
Great sets bring back players. It's kind of that simple, right? Like you look at some of the sets that we've seen so far, and like you've seen player drop off. Like we saw a big player drop off during Twilight, but they came back. But they came back for Jump because Jump played well and was a great set, right? Mm-hmm. Little, I thought Forces of Power.
Legends of the Force. Legends of the Force.
Was okay. Like Jump was up and it was a little down, and Secrets of Power. I mean, if you look at a lot of the meta decks, the cards aren't really out there, right? It's still the first 3 sets kind of dominating most decks. So you've got to create better cards. You got to make bangers.
I genuinely think that it's the theme of Secrets. I think the cards in Secrets of Power are actually good, and there's plenty of them. But I just think it's we talked about this at the beginning.
Theme matters. Yeah. Theme matters.
Trade route taxation is the name of a real card in our game.
That's sad, isn't it?
Who cares at all about why? Who thought that was a good idea?
There's another one that's like budget scheming. There's I think there's a card called budget scheming or budget meeting or something, and you're like, really?
It's a weird set. It's a weird set. Like I love the plot mechanic, but like most of the plot cards are like, I don't know, undervalued.
Yeah, so
it's really hard.
The theme of this set does not bother me. I am a little bit of a politics junkie. I'm certainly married to a politics junkie.
Yeah, you are married to one.
I'm definitely married to a politics junkie. So listen to her. She's all.
I can hear her in the background.
Yeah. I'm like, I'm not getting to that right now. But the bottom line is, for me, like, I agree that for me, this doesn't bother me as much. But I absolutely understand that a lot of folks come to Star Wars specifically for the escapism and the laser swords and the space wizards and the blasters and the space battles, and there's just not as much of that in this set. So I think theme is actually is hurting them here.
I think it does hurt them with this set, and I think their leader choices hurt too, right? C3PO's a freaking leader card, okay?
Yeah.
He could have been anybody else. All he does is exhaust things, but he's C freaking 3PO, right? Like, we're really grasping at straws when we're making C3PO leader. C3PO has never led anything ever
Yeah.
in the history of Star Wars, okay? R2D2 leads that group. He's just the tag along. Everyone knows that.
Yeah.
Make R2 the leader. Like, they're really, I think they're struggling sometimes when it comes to making some of these sets.
You know, something else that I hadn't realized, till you pointed it out, Ian, as I sit here and I'm looking at the leader list, scrolling down it.
It's not cool guy. It's not cool characters. It's not cool people.
Other than possibly 3PO, Padme Amidala, and old Leia from the sequel trilogy, a lot of the leaders, I guess Jabba maybe, but like a lot of these leaders are not people that are very recognizable. There's, maybe at least half of them are minor or kind of niche characters in stuff that folks may or may not have seen. And I think that absolutely, I think that matters. I think that actually definitely drives interest. I haven't heard you.
So then how do you fix it?
Well, I mean,
my computer's going haywire over here.
Okay.
Just change the name of some of the cards. Palpatine. He's Senator Palpatine. So make him a Flippy. He should have been a Flippy, right?
What do you mean?
He could have been like the other Palpatine, like the Chancellor Palpatine, where he flips to Sidious. He should have been a flip leader. Something. Know. Like some sort of flavor there, like with the plot and the flipping, and I don't know. Like you can't, like, I don't want to play Mon Mothma, right? Like, some of these leader choices that they choose, these are not characters that people gravitate to. Like, let's use our friend Jason, right? Mm-hmm. Jason has played Boba and Jango and Boba and Jango, right? Like, he's always gone, like, he plays his favorite character is clearly Boba Fett, and he tries to play something along those lines, which is great. Like, your favorite character should be available, right? I'm a huge Obi-Wan Kenobi fan. It's why I'm playing Obi Yellow right now, because I love Obi-Wan Kenobi, one of my favorite characters. You've got to have your favorite character available to play.
So I honestly, from my perspective, I don't think it's just that the players are leaving. Like, I think this set, like this last set and Twilight, they caused issues because they either were just not very well done sets or the theme was wrong. But I think that the people dropping the game are dropping the game because I still think there's a reasonably healthy group of people out there playing the game. Just nobody's spending money on this game anymore.
Yeah, it's not worth buying packs.
That's what makes it financially unviable for stores to carry it, is that they can't. Nobody's making money.
They can't move the product. They buy boxes, they buy cases, and then nobody buys it, so it just sits on the shelf and gathers dust.
I don't know what a box costs retail, right? I have no idea. Or wholesale. I have no idea what they pay wholesale for it.
It's about 50% off from MSRP.
So
it's
60 bucks.
60
If it's selling at
bucks.
120, you're saying it's $60. Okay, well, then this is exactly what's wrong. I can go online right now and I can buy some of the sets for $30, $40,
yep, exactly right.
$65, where they're making $5 on a box.
Mm-hmm.
That's not profitable. You cannot. And the packs don't sell. Like, this set doesn't have the cards that make me want to crack open packs, right? Jump to Lightspeed had me splitting open packs so fast, it was unbelievable, and I was loving every pack I opened. It had me buying Carbonite packs. Legends of the Force, I'm a huge Jedi guy, big into the Space Wizards, that's my thing, and so I was cracking those packs. But again, you get to politicians, it's not as interesting, and the cards aren't really there. Like, there's few and far between cards that are really that great or powerful or have any value. I mean, if you're buying the box at 60 and you're selling it at 65 or a loss, you can't carry it.
You can pre-order.
You're going to spend all your money on buying more Pokemon cards and more Magic cards because you're going to get the value out of those. Because you need the per pack price. You
can pre-order a Lawless Time online from certain stores for $80 right now.
Yeah, right now.
So like $79.99, and that is just unsustainable. That's people who don't really have any overhead because they get the product in, they cut the box open, they throw it in another box and throw it in the mail.
Yeah, they're
so they don't have to spend things.
Yeah,
and what you've ended up with in this game is you've ended up with a handful of large companies or large dealers. They buy a ton of product in the beginning, they crack open everything, they then sort it and sell singles, and it makes no sense
loses
for
money.
anyone to buy a pack. It makes no sense for anybody
Yeah.
to buy a pack
Yeah.
because it's just cheaper to buy the singles.
Yeah.
And so I think that FFG and ESMO, or I guess I don't know who makes the printing decisions, one of them, but they have printed it in such a way that there's no value, there's no reason to open a pack. You let somebody else open a pack, buy the cards you want, it's cheaper and more cost effective.
That's because the rares and the legendaries aren't super playable from the set.
And there's even the ones that are playable, there's just too terribly many of them.
One of my
fair.
favorite cards right now is Lightmaker. It's one of my favorite cards to play
That's
right
a
now.
great card.
I really love that card. I really love it in my OB deck because I can throw an experience on it, and it really makes you have to deal with the unit.
Oh yeah.
And then if you do deal with the unit, I get to exhaust everything I want. Basically, or an entire field. It's $5. That's a pack. It's a legendary card. I'd rather just pay the $5 on TCG Trader and have it sent to me than buy the pack.
Well,
a lot of the rares are like 50 cents, 25 cents on TCG Trader.
And again, I come back to the reason for legendary prices. Part of the reason for legendary prices being so deflated is because we print so bloody many of them now. And it's not just the print run of the basic cards, it's Carbonites. The Carbonites all have what, 3 or 4 more different art variants of most legendaries. Not all legendaries, right? If you look at the set, and I challenge you, go to TCG Player and look through, and the most expensive legendaries out of this set are the ones that don't have prestige versions. Cards like Darth Nihilus don't have a prestige version. That's still a $15 or a $16 card. I was shocked to discover that this week, but it still
Obi's
is
the same way too.
Okay, for the same reason, he doesn't have a prestige version. Therefore, he's still pricey. But as soon as you print a prestige version of a legendary, doesn't matter if it's serialized or not, the price goes down, and it goes down dramatically.
The game,
other than Queen Amidala, not so much.
The game really needs to become. I mean, I know this is going to be not the greatest thing to say, but maybe it should become pay to play, where the legendaries are fewer and scarce, like in the first set or two, where there wasn't that many, and just print way less of them to drive up the prices of singles. That will help these shops sell more boxes, more cards, more packs.
Well, we had a fairly lengthy conversation about that last episode. Go ahead, Trey.
Yeah.
I want to know Wes, what would you do with packs to change it? Because I have a solution that I've been brainstorming, and I want to hear what you guys think.
For me, the same thing that I said several episodes ago. We talked about this. Carbonite has to go. You've got to stop. You have to stop printing Carbonite packs. If you absolutely insist on the alternate art stuff, fine, but put them in regular packs as really cool bonus. Oh, look, I hit a tier 2 prestige art in my pack. You want packs to go flying off the shelves? Keep the alt arts, keep the new organization you've come up with. Every pack has a hyperspace, every pack has a hyperfoil, all that shenanigans, and start putting prestige cards in there and kill Carbonites dead. And you will sell booster boxes like crazy.
Yeah, you'll get 120 for the booster box easy.
You'll, at a minimum, you'll see them discounted in bulk, but not as cheap as they are right now, right? No. Carbonites ruin right now because the game does not have the player base to support full-on collectors. The Carbonites ruin the economics of regular boosters for basically everybody. You're going to have to suck it up and take the pain of the lower profits. But in my mind, that's a short-run pain to preserve the game over the long run. Deal with it.
All right. You want to hear mine?
Bring it. I would love to hear
I did some brainstorming on this, and I got real excited because we've harped on drop Carbonite for a while, and I tried to get it a little deeper than that.
I'd love to hear it.
So we're dropping Carbonite. Obviously, that's the beginning of this. You're dropping Carbonite because we want to push sales of the boosters.
Mm-hmm.
I actually like the way that the packs are designed right now with the flavors. Mm-hmm. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to drop Prestige. There's no Prestige cards.
Sure.
There's regular cards. There's non-foil hyperfoils. There's there's hyperspace. Then there's hyperfoil. Okay. And then there's serialized hyperfoil.
Ooh, I like that.
So you make this to make the hyperfoils themselves serialized. So now I've got 4 different flavors. They all come in the base packs.
Mm-hmm.
Carbonite is gone.
Everything in the base packs.
Here's the next thing that I want to do. I want to add a method of tracking the sales of individual packs. So there's an extra card in there that's like the base or the token, maybe on the back of the base.
Oh, like a
of your
rewards
pack.
program.
It's like a rewards program. There's a
Yeah, I
QR
gotcha.
code that you can scan to say, I bought this pack. And you use that to push people online to track their connection. And as they scan these things, it's opening crackerjack box tops and they sell them. And that's where Prestige has gone. Prestige are now variations
Trade
of
your
these
box
cards.
tops for Prestige cards.
You trade your. I bought. Yes.
Oh, I
You
see.
So
buy-
they're like they're
2 boxes of
promos.
cards. You can trade it in for this promo card.
I see where you're going. Okay.
So you're
not a bad idea.
scanning your QR codes, and that's adding points to your frequent flyer mile pile.
Right.
And then halfway through a set, they go, all right, now we have this swap. The same way they do the prize wall. It's like a prize wall, but it's online.
It's a virtual, like a digital prize wall. Yeah. Okay.
It's a digital prize wall. And so you go in and you say, I'm going to cash in 500 points and I want this card and this card in Prestige. You don't even have to do Prestige foil. You just do Prestige.
Just do Prestige.
It's the alt.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's just another promo version of the card. And so then you buy these, you pay the shipping, and they show up in the mail, and now you have the cool version of the
I
card.
like that. That's actually kind of cool.
I'm going to give you the corporate way that's actually going to go.
Uh-oh.
Okay, I love your idea, Trey, and I think it's great, right? But I'm going to tell you what the corporate bigwigs would actually do with this idea.
Excellent,
because
Smithers.
This just screamed like, all the value programs that I've sold over my times in retails. The items that would become available to trade your points in would be the leftover items from the previous set. So you could probably get sleeves and mats and stuff like that that's left over that they hadn't sold from the previous set. That's what you're going to end up trading your points for. Is the
Maybe
stuff
maybe
they
that's
have
part
left
of
over.
that's part of it as well. Like you.
That's
you can
usually
just
what
buy-
rewards points are. They're either go to a discount of something you want to buy that they can still make profit on, or they give you the leftover stuff, which is still kind of cool, right? Trade in your 10 packs, you can get a mat from, I don't know, set 1 that wasn't available before, but now they found some more in the warehouse or whatever. So, and it could be extra judge cards that they have left over. It could be extra packs that they have left over from like Galactics. It could be promo packs, but it's going to be stuff that they have that they've already made, because that's how the corporate overworld lords look. We'll give you free stuff, but it's stuff that we already have.
It's just,
they're
it's
not going to
overstock.
make
In other words, I'm just clearing out my warehouse.
They're not going to make something specific to give you for your rewards points.
So,
Because if I'm going to mail you out stuff, I want to mail you my junk I can't sell.
I hear what you're saying, and part of me doesn't disagree with you. However, they have demonstrated up to this point that that's not entirely accurate. Look at sector and regional champ qualifiers and GCs. Look how many event exclusive stuff they have printed for those events only.
Yeah.
So
if you had that stuff left over, it could be on the site as well.
Now there I like what you're saying, but what I'm
That's what I
getting
mean.
at,
You're gonna have everything they have left over, they're gonna put on there.
but what I'm getting at is, it's, to me, if I'm going to go to GameGenic, I'll just use them because they're the easy ones. I'm going to go to GameGenic and I'm going to say, I want you to print me some specific sleeves with this art. Great. And they pick 4 of them, and those are available at regionals or sectors. We've seen them do this before. What is the difference between doing that and doing the exact same exercise for, it's time to have our 2026 digital prize wall. I want you to make me unique sleeves with these 4 arts, and here they are, and the only place you can get them is by turning in your little reward points or whatever. I don't think that's unrealistic or clearly beyond their certainly not beyond their capabilities, right? They've demonstrated they can do this. It's just a question of, do they want to invest the money up front? There you go, because there's obviously a capital cost that goes into, I have to print this stuff and buy materials, and then it has to sit on a shelf, and now I have to mail it. And that's also another cost.
Yep.
Oh, you would when you turned your points in, you would pay a shipping cost.
Shipping.
Okay, as long as if they pass the shipping fee on, I think you have an easier time selling that to corporate.
For sure.
Yeah.
But you're also printing another card with an exclusive number, so you got to be careful on your numbering. So you do have
it's not. They're not serialized.
Yeah,
it's not
serialized.
serialized.
But I'm talking each one has like a QR code or something like that, right? Like they'd have to be individual QR codes. So
I see where you're going.
The same one,
over and over. Yeah, I see where you're going.
So you're going to have to print another card to put in the pack. So you're talking about printing another card, and you are adding, money to the pile. I just want to throw that in there.
But with modern printing, that is a trivial thing. Having those things show up and be customized for every print. Every single print is trivial now. I've played other games that do it for every set.
Yeah, for sure.
So the QR codes, it's trivial to just say every base that gets printed gets a separate QR code, and they just because so you have the base on one side, you flip it over, there's a token and a little QR code in the bottom, and then that's what gets scanned to say I bought a pack. And it's just from a printer's perspective, it's trivial now. It's all digital. They just say put a custom QR code with a number on it on that one card, and they all get something different. And then every base becomes valuable.
That's true. That's true. At least for the person who opens it, you hold on to it long enough to add it to your thing, and then after that, you don't care what happens to it, right? Just whatever.
Yeah,
means there wouldn't be a pile of bases at the end of draft.
There would not be a big pile of bases left at the end of draft.
You are correct.
That
a bunch of hungry hippo people.
It'd be a lot of hungry hippos. That is true. That is
and
true.
You know, like right now, they have their own website that allows you to track your collection, but nobody uses it because it's not as good as SWODP. It's hard to use. Nobody uses it. This would drive traffic to use your website, which pushes your numbers up to make it seem like you're getting more people.
Yeah, I like it.
You send people because that's my solution. I like that solution. I put some time thinking about it.
I love your digital card thing. From a retailer's perspective, they're not cutting those carbonites. Not as long as there's people like Anthony out there who buy them every freaking week.
But you're 100% right. As long as the whales exist, and corporate's not going to let them cut carbonite.
Yeah, they're not gonna let them cut carbonite.
And it's unfortunate to me because it's when you look at the secondary market prices of the year one stuff that people want versus the year two stuff that people want, it's very clear that carbonite has just murdered the secondary market.
Yeah.
Even on cards
I didn't think
want,
about how many
there's
more.
just so many of them in circulation now. It's crazy.
When you talk about how many more legendaries get printed, that hadn't really occurred to me. Like it's just there's so many because you got the tier 1, 2, and 3. Like that's so many extra cards.
Go ahead, Trey.
I was just say that by murdering the price of the cards that have been printed in so many different variations, you've murdered the demand for basic packs, and nobody's buying them. Those basic packs after the first week or so, or very few are being sold, and that's what's driving people away from the game.
I'll be honest, I don't know how you can explain and justify this at a corporate level. Like to be able to sit in your sales meetings and say, well, our base pack sales are in the tank, right? Or they're 30% lower than the previous set. Carbonites is okay. Carbonites are kind of holding, but we're selling less overall because carbonite sales are basically replacing the regular booster packs. And to me, that's not where you want to be. I don't feel like that's sustainable over the long-term health of the game. Yeah. Let's talk about rotation real quick. We're now right at about a month, 4 weeks left from, you can see it coming on the horizon. Her rotation is almost here. Trey basically said he had some thoughts he wanted to share on this. So I'm gonna kick back and listen for a little while, and then we can shoot holes in it. Ian, what do you think? Get those 6 shooters out. Let's go.
You put me at the end of the last session and the last section and the beginning of this section. So it's just people are just going to have to listen to me talk about brainstorming ideas.
Yeah, it's going to be the Trey show for a while. It's fine. They're used to it.
All right.
It's not the first time it's happened.
So I guess I don't know. I thought about all this stuff over in the last 2 weeks. I was like in a real brainstorm. Let's make the game better mode. I've been thinking about the choices that they made in rotation. What to do, how long to do, how many years do we keep in, what sets do we take out? And some of it I agree with what they've done. Some of it I think they could do differently. So first of all, I like the 2 years premise. I like the size of the card pool that leaves you. If you go bigger than 2 years, I think you're reaching back too far. Now, financially, it's actually not that big of a problem to reach back 3 years now and have people play the first year step, but that stuff is feeling stale. I like the idea of going at 2 years. There is a choice they made, though, that I think there are drivers to choose to do it option A or option B, and I don't think either of them, or I don't think the way that they chose, which is option A here, which I'll get to in a second, I think it's kind of arbitrary the way they chose it. So the question, when you rotate, what do you rotate? Like, is it, because the way they've chosen to do it is they classify every year as a single block of time. And as we get to the new year of cards with a lawless time, we're going to drop a year of cards. And so the size of the pool is going to go up and down. So we're dropping like 750 cards and adding 250 new ones roughly into the pool all at once. And so the size of the pool is going down, which this is one of those things that when we talked about foils, it felt like that they said, oh, Magic does this, so that's what we need to do for our game. I don't feel like there was a lot of thought that went into it, because I think there's not a lot of driver that says to do it that way, from just a, does this make sense about how we're choosing to do it? And I think there's driver for doing it the other way, which is just rotate every set. So when we open, and then the way that I would prefer to see it done is when Lawless Time comes in, Spark of Rebellion goes out.
Yeah.
And then when the next set comes in, Shadows goes out. Like I like that better. And I think there's reasons to do it that way versus there's not really reasons to do it the way they're doing it. If they were doing block design, if they chose an era, if they chose the trilogy era of movies A, B, and C that all go together, no matter which one it is, and they made that was a year, that would make sense thematically to kind of drop it all off at once. But I think since they don't do that, there's not really anything saying that Twilight is the same year as Spark of Rebellion. They're just different sets and they come out at different times. Mm-hmm. What I think a good driver for why to do it the other way has to do with the size of the card pool that is happening. So what we get right now is the way that rotation is going to work is we're going to have 1,000 cards change in our card pool in March. We're going to lose about 750 and we're going to gain about 250. So that the card pool is going to go. So there's like 1,500 now ish cards in the card pool. We're going to lose change 1,000 of those. But then come spring or come summer, we're going to change it by 250. And then come fall, we're going to change it by 250. And then come next year at this time, we're going to change it by 1,000 again.
Yeah. And
just keep going like that. And I don't think that yields for an even, consistent, and interesting gameplay. I think what we would get a lot, mainly because we only do 3 sets a year. If we did 4 sets a year, I would also be more into that. But I think by doing 3 sets a year, you want to have a larger variation, or you want to have your variation spread out between each set coming out. And so if you just had 500 cards different in every set, I think it would be a lot smoother flow to the game and a smoother flow to the jolt to the card pool, jolt to the metagame of we're going to pull Spark of Rebellion out of the pool. We're going to put Lawless Time in. The card pool is changed by 500 cards. That's going to last us for 4 months. And then the next set comes out. We pull 200 cards out. We put 200 cards in. The size of the card pool changes by 500. And then so we're going to have this change of 500 cards every single time we have a set comes out. And I think that's just a better way to do it. I think it's a more consistent experience for the people that are playing the game. And it takes this we have a massive amount of variety going on and churn going on right now at this time of year, and spreads that out over time and puts some of it in the summer and some of it in the fall. It makes those more exciting times. But that's what I think rotation should be. Now, when they first announced it, I didn't have a plan. I didn't have any thought about it. And people would say, "What should we do it this way or that way?" And I was like, "I don't know. It's arbitrary. They can do whatever they want. I don't care." But having put more thought into it and to what it means for the gameplay of the game, I think there are a lot of reasons to do it differently than what they're doing now.
For my money, the main reason I like what you're suggesting is that it means that when I purchase cards out of a set, I'm going to get 24 months to use those cards, period. As it is right now, the third set in any block, when I go to buy those cards, I only get to use them for 16 months. So I am actively discouraged.
Twin sons.
Okay, whatever. I'm talking about the majority of the player base. You guys have got your little niche cult club. Fine. Okay, I get it. But
shut up. You like the game. You like it too. We sold you on it, backslider.
But the point remains: the majority of your player base, okay, and I'm thinking at it this way: is plays Premier, and I'm to the point where I am now actively discouraged from sets 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, whatever, from buying a lot of that set because I can only use it for for less than a year and a half. So why do I want to invest a ton of money in cards that I'm not going to get as much use out of? It makes way more sense for me to invest money in sets 1, 4, 7, 10, etc., because I'm going to get 24 months of use out of those cards.
I just want to add this, Wes.
Go.
Real quick. There's sets 3 and 6. they've been not great anyway, so you haven't really invested anyways.
But the point remains, okay? So what I like about Trey's idea is now every set consistently has 2 years of value attached to it. I'm investing in it. I get these cards for 2 years, and then they will rotate out. And at that point, they're eternal or twin suns or whatever. Like they're not worthless anymore, but they're not the same value as that they had when I purchased them, or using them. I'm fine with that.
Yeah. So this is my first time with rotation, right? So I guess I'm new, and this is my first game. I'll say this: I think if you rotated one set at a time, it would lead to a lot more cards being banned. Okay, if you rotated out Spark but left in Shadows, Hotshot Blaster's got to go. It becomes like one of the most powerful cards in the game, hands down.
Already
There's
is.
no card that matches
What?
power.
That's not.
But that's my point. But there are cards in Spark that kind of keep it in check, I guess, a little bit. And if you pulled all those out, I think it would lead to ban cards.
Okay.
I think they could probably do that in the future. What you guys want to do when they get to set 9, they may change the rotation set. But I think sets 1, 2, and 3, because they're the dominant amount of cards that are being played, I think that's why they're rotating them out. They want more variety in their meta. They have a little bit of variety right now in their meta game, but it's not all over the place. It's a bunch of decks playing basically the same cards.
Right.
Yeah,
I can agree with that. But you know, if we're just copying Magic and saying Magic does that, so we need to have print foils, or Magic rotates 3 at a time. Magic has proven that they're perfectly willing to jumble up how they do things, the number of sets they print a year, how they rotate things. Magic has been willing to make those changes, so hopefully FFG ticks that Magic box as well.
They've definitely, since Twilight, though, done a good job of, I guess, printing less overpowered cards. So, like, as a whole, I think the rotation is, the more I'm playing, because I've already rotated. I've already made the decision that I've rotated. And the more I'm playing my rotated decks against unrotated decks, I instantly go like, yeah, like this card does have to go. Because it's like Power of the Dark Side has to go. Like if you pull Power of the Dark Side out, but you leave Rivals Fall in, like it's instantly the best removal card in the game.
Yeah, but it costs double. Dragon. So
we still have Felled the Dragon in that set. Like you're not taking out all these cards that are becoming frustrating to play. The problem is the first 2 sets really contain all the cards that haven't been banned that are frustrating to play. And all the cards that have been banned have come from, I believe, those 2 sets.
Django disagrees, but you're close. He's the only one.
Yeah,
he's the only one. He's the only one.
Leader.
He's the only one.
Because he was impossible to play with Triple Dark Raid and War Juggernaut, and the new Flamethrower card that's out too. Like there would be a bunch of cards for him.
I hadn't considered the financial aspect of it, so that's another bullet in my gun of making an argument for the way that I thought to do it. It does, because there's a shocking number of new players in this game that have never played TCGs. If you follow it on social media and you see people post on Reddit or Facebook or anything, there are a lot of people.
There's a lot of Ians out there, man.
A lot of Ians out there that are very trepidatious about having their collections. Like they just don't know what to make of rotation at all. No, just the fact that it exists sets them off. So it's an easier sell to say it's just this one set that you lost, it's 2 years old.
Exactly.
And you are going to get 2 years to play out of every single card. Obviously, all of the same arguments exist. If you could play whatever you want, just if you want to play with other people that you don't know, it has to be Premier, but it does soften that blow a little bit as well to just do one set at a time.
Yeah.
See, I'm right. They should just let me run everything. We're going to get the packs right. We're going to drive sales. We're going to get the rotation correct. I need to run this stuff.
Bankrupt by Christmas.
Exactly, because inevitably, Trey, you'll find something else that gets screwed up because we're all human, and that's just the way it'll go. Trust me.
No, not at all. I mean, I might say the wrong thing and have to apologize for it, but all my decisions are sound, sir.
This is my skeptical face for those of you that are listening and not watching. This is my skeptical face. Go ahead, Ian.
As somebody who's new to rotation, I'm actually very much looking forward to it. I think it's going to open up a lot more deck building ideas, and I think it's going to open up a lot more decks.
You weren't always, though, and you've sat here and talked to 2 people 100%. That are veterans of it.
I'm getting more used to the idea. I think starting early has really helped me.
Yeah.
And that's a decision I had to make because the way I build decks, I'm better at changing them than completely like, I don't know, like creating them from scratch and changing them takes time. So I wanted to start now.
Okay.
Good.
Ian, you had a question about some rules change you were trying to interpret. Help us out. What was this you were talking about?
So a couple weeks ago, they came out with some rules changes or some rules updates for the new set. And I was reading the article, and I don't think I quite understood it correctly. They're doing some changes around the wording on cards, from what I understand, and when the order of when play affects. Maybe I'm wrong on how I understood it, but it just was kind of confusing to me around the rules, around what the minor changes they made. I was hoping Trey could explain them to me because it sounded like he understood the article better than I did.
Go for it.
So I understood it better. I'm working from memory here because I'm lazy and didn't get to it enough. I've been lost in talking about this stuff. But essentially, it's the wording of cards that you're talking about is called templating, and it's the way that they write things. It's the way because it's the templating is them using consistent language to say the same thing. So they don't. If they didn't have templating, sometimes they might say you deal 2 damage to target creature, and some other times they might say choose a creature or choose a unit, deal 2 damage to it, something like that. And so those, and when you make a game and you make rules, you come up with a templated way to say things so that it's consistent every time that you write it. So it would say choose a unit, deal 2 damage, choose a unit, capture that unit. That's what templating means. Is what we're talking about here. And one of the things that they kind of painted themselves into a corner was all the different ways they were talking about doing things in combat. And so they had some ways that were like at the end of combat, if this unit survives, or once. So what they've done is they've taken it and they've cleaned up all those old ways of saying various points in combat, and now they've just made it say something like at the end of combat do this, and it has to this so that it would trigger
the wording a little more understanding.
Right. There's some, I think there's some minor functional changes, but for most people that play the game, they won't see any difference. It'll just play the way that they expected it to. So you would have some trigger. So like you might have when attacking, like if this unit survives, do this. Then now what it says is it'll say the thing triggers at the end of combat. So that has to be alive at the end of combat for it to trigger. So you functionally get the same thing where this only triggers if this thing made an attack and still lived to trigger the ability. It's just all now worded more consistently. So they're not having to chase down all these little corner cases of what happens if this and that type of thing.
Okay.
Make sense?
Yeah, it does now.
Okay, good. I'll link that article in just to make sure everybody who's listening has caught it. But essentially, like Trey said, they're just making some wording changes to be more consistent going forward and make it clearer how certain cards work. So that in theory, it's meant to reduce confusion rather than create confusion. Trey, we're there, buddy. It's time. I'm ready. What's our new design challenge for next episode?
All right. So you guys did a pretty good job with this last one. We've had a lot of fun with this one. We're not designing cards this time.
Okay.
We're getting close to the announcement of an entire new format. It is a format where you can play your Vigilances and your Django's and your Boba Fett's and everybody, so at least so far, that's been banned, and you can go back in time. You can play the oldest cards you can play. You can play your Moxes and your Black Lotuses.
Okay.
But we don't know what that is yet. And so sometime before rotation, I anticipate they will release a guide that says this is what the Eternal format is.
Sure.
I know they've already offered tournaments to people saying, we haven't told you what the Eternal format is yet, but do you want to run your event as an Eternal format?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm pretty sure they've got it about locked in. We don't know as of this recording. It's what, 11:30 Central Time on the 5th.
It's the 5th of February. Mm-hmm.
We don't know. I want you guys to brainstorm and come up with what do you think, what does an Eternal format look like? Is it exactly like what we have in Premiere? Just with all the cards? Is deck construction change? Are the decks larger? Do the bases have more or less health? Like, do bases start with shields on them? I don't know. Come up with something and make it interesting and have a way to justify why you chose that. Don't just like spin the wheel of silly and come up with something. But
so
I mean, maybe you could, whatever.
Like, all cards can come back because Ian loves TDR and he wants TDR back.
Yeah.
You guys think I'm a homer with red. Listen to this loser.
All decks must contain triple dark rain.
I don't know. Figure it out. Maybe the aspect penalty is 3 instead of 2. I don't know. Just dream up something that is a new format that incorporates all the cards so that nothing ever rotates out. And what you may is it still 3 of every card in the deck? Is it a singleton format? Is it a 4 of format?
Okay,
I don't know.
think I see where you're going. I think I see.
You tell me.
Okay.
I want you to dream up what you think would be a fun format to use all the cards, and let me know.
Okay. All right. I like where your head's at. All right, well, guys, I think we've pretty well wrapped it. We're getting up against our time limit here. Anything else, Ian? Anything else on your brain that you wanna talk about while we're here? You good?
No. Sleep.
Okay.
Sleep on the brain.
It's getting late. You gotta be up early. I think probably. Trey, what about you? You in good shape?
Yeah, I'm in good shape. I pontificated quite a bit this time around.
Yes, you did. Yes, you did.
I put some thoughts down, and you were like, I don't know. We're just going to do an episode and then let Trey go on these
pretty
topics.
much. Everyone just let the man speak. So, all right. Well, as all, go ahead.
I said I'm out.
Oh, okay.
So I do want to make one notice that when we started doing this podcast a year ago, we stepped all over each other when we talked. We would talk at the same time over and over and over because there's a slight delay and as we do this over Discord. And I thought when we did it, and I would notice it because I've done podcasts for years for whatever game I'm playing. I was like, oh, this will get better. And we've gotten much better at it. We know, kind of learned each other when we're talking, what's going on. Not tonight, man. We have just been all like yelling at the screen at the same time. Tonight's been brutal, man. I don't know if it's Ian's tired or I'm just not catching clues or what.
Could be me as well.
You're so dialed in. See, we're doing it now. You're so dialed into the levels, maybe, that you're paying attention. You're not catching. The levels are going to be tip top this time around.
We're going to be fun. We're going to be fun. Yeah, guys. So as always, thanks for tuning in. Thanks for listening. Come on to YouTube, comment, interact with us. We do have the ability. You can send us a text message. That's listed in the Spotify. You can literally click on a link and send us a text message. Trey asked me the other day if we had an email address. I need to set that up. We should probably set up an email address for the podcast, shouldn't we, Trey? So we can do like the occasional mailbag episode or something. Yeah, I'll do that. I'll get one of those going and start putting that in show notes, and you guys can email us if you want to ask us questions or have a topic that you want to suggest that you'd like to hear us talk about. I'm game. I'm one of these people that's like, there's nothing so dangerous or crazy you can't talk about it, because that's what we're here for. One last thing before we head out. If you are around this weekend, I'm going to be back on YouTube with one more PQ here for set 6. I'm driving to Lubbock tomorrow to cast their planetary qualifier on Saturday. Josh Schneider is going to be joining me again, calling the play-by-play while I kind of produce and do the color commentary. Josh is, for my money, still one of the best at doing this, and so tune in. I won't promise it's going to be a ton of players. You just never know. You're in West Texas, but I'll promise that the cast will look and sound amazing. So I can promise you quality, even if I can't necessarily promise you large player volume. So drop on by.
What's the count right now?
It was 27 last I looked. I think they're going to crack 32. Let me have a quick peek. And as of right this instant, as we record here, we are up to, I'm waiting for it to load. We are up to 29. So I think they'll break through. We had 35 last time, and that we were up against a PQ and a sector qualifier on the same day. And the PQ was in the same state, just a few hours down the road. So we'll see. We'll see where they land. But yeah, I hope you'll tune in. All right, guys, that's it. Let's hang it up. Thanks for tuning in. We'll catch you guys next episode. Peace.